Hello folks, this is Paragon RG. We are casting Beastyqt games today. He's doing really well on the ladder lately. As well, he's been playing a bunch of Delhi, and I'm trying to keep an eye on his playstyle. In this particular match, Beasty is blue on the west side of the map, and it is Ancient Spires. So you can remember that. It's the map with all of these spires throughout the map, as well as having a number of docks. And most of those docks don't actually have deep water fish, but we see there's one here that does, and there's one closer to his opponent that does as well. So Beasty in the blue as the Mongols, and we'll keep a close eye on his build order as we go. Ovo going up already. And lots on wood. So it looks like we're going to be seeing a dock here from Beasty. On the other hand, we have, in the red, none other than TheViper. You've probably heard of this player. Arguably the greatest Age of Empires 2 player of all time. He sort of ruled that world for quite a few years. I think he'd wish he knew about the deep sea fish back here, although then again, there aren't many shorefish, so maybe it is a better call to head out over this way. Anyway, Viper is on the east side of the map, in the red, and he is playing as the Chinese. So we will see how this goes. I also have a close... I've been playing more of the Chinese lately, particularly interested in them. I've always been interested in them, but it seemed like they had some rough edges. In the most recent patch, I don't remember a lot of the bug fixes now, but it looked like it was enough that it smoothed out some of their issues. There's still a couple things like an Imperial official, when told to supervise something, will wander off. He'll take the tax gold, take it back to the town center, and then he'll forget what he was doing, and he won't go back and supervise that building. So there are awkward things like that. It requires quite a bit of micromanagement within your base. And we see... Do we see an Imperial official yet? We do not. So no Imperial official from the Viper. Beasty will want to be careful here. Those Chinese town centers pack a pretty mean punch. Beasty over here adding a barracks beside the Ovo. I'm not particularly surprised with this choice. This is the reason Mongols have been considered overpowered. I think I can safely say people have a really hard time beating the Mongols on hybrid maps. So basically their ability to double produce spearmen, so you'll probably see as soon as he gets the resources here, because of the Ovo, you can spend let me start that over. While the barracks is within the range, the influence of the Ovo, you can double produce as long as you have the stone for it. So basically the total resource cost also has to be paid in stone, and then you get 2 of the units instead of 1. And there we see 2 spearmen popping out. So he'll be heading right away down here. That being said, the Viper is ready for him, and he has made an outpost. Now, these outposts can go down. If the Viper isn't careful, we will see. It looks like, actually, first of all, more villagers coming over. I like this a lot. These villagers will probably just gather these fish, and then if spearmen come by, they'll pop into the tower and make their life difficult. So he knows spearmen are coming. Mongols always send spears at your docks, and they burn them down, and that's why Mongols are so fearsome on hybrid maps. Meanwhile, the best your opponent can do is single produce spearmen from their own barracks. And so it's often just not worth it. Perhaps you can single produce spearmen in some combination with the tower and keep it afloat. Oh, and he's going to wall. Yeah, I like it. So just slows the opponent down as much as possible. And actually, come to think of it, this whole area does look pretty wallable. So we'll see if he completes the wall. Looks like he's going to sort of quick wall, right? He's going to tap the different pieces of wall. But in Age of Empires 4, as long as there's some kind of gap, I believe, the units can walk through it. So Beasty is going to have to leave here. In fact, I think these units are stuck on the wrong side of the wall, so that's got to be pretty frustrating for him. It looks like he snuck through probably as the villager was building, and the villager continued to complete the wall, and apparently this is not walkable by a unit. Beasty is going to tower the other side of this, so that's going to be pretty annoying or the Viper. We'll see what he chooses to do about this. Some people choose to sort of bum rush it, just get a bunch of units on it and take it out. Looks like he's going to try to harass the villager making it, but there's enough of Beasty Spearmen here that's not going to be possible, and that scout almost going down. So I'm focusing here. This is really, this is where the meat of it is happening. We'll take a quick look. Viper is putting up the Barbican of the Sun, so he is more than halfway to feudal age here. He's got a mining camp, but otherwise he's mostly on wood. He's collecting some tax, not the most efficient thing, with his imperial official. So really the game is here, and of course Beasty is gathering fish unmolested at the top of the map. Viper reaching feudal age. Beasty's starting to harvest gold, should say perhaps mine gold, and still just that oboe and that barracks. He saved up some amount of stone, and he's not making any more spearmen right now, so we'll have to keep an eye on what he's up to next. So, looks like the Viper let this happen. He built a gate here, and then he just walked out, made another dock, and now his ships are safely fishing and dropping off at a different dock. So, yeah, I really like it a lot. Additionally, there's sort of a switch in power when... Ooh, Viper, be careful, be careful. Looks like he might lose a villager here. So these arrow attack ships really rip apart spearmen. And so as soon as a player hits the feudal age, they can get one of these out, your opponent will have a really hard time building towers because the villagers might just get shot by the opposing ships. In fact, there it goes. So, and he does take out that villager. So really patient play by the Viper. He knows as long as he has a working dock, he can drop off fish there, and he doesn't need, he can sort of avoid this. He's going to garrison the villagers, try to stop this dock from being destroyed, but otherwise he just needs to prevent somebody from making outposts around his dock, and the Chinese junk has successfully done that. So really, really nice play by the Viper. But you can see why this is frustrating for Mongol players, when meanwhile the Mongol player is just happily fishing away at the top, and we see 10 fishing ships here for him, with the 11th coming out, and him having hit feudal age with the deer stones. So this is looking like it will continue to be an infantry-based approach. Ooh, the con going down. I think that was over here. There it is. The Barbican of the Sun probably getting that shot. So it looks like the infantry approach from Beasty. The Viper has a blacksmith down. Now the blacksmith is pretty cool for Chinese now because they can actually supervise it. So he may actually go over, supervise this, triple the speed of his ranged attack upgrade, the steeled arrow, or let's say pierce damage. And meanwhile, he is supervising, actually looks like, what is this supervising? I almost wish they put it above the building and not the Imperial official, or maybe both. So he's currently pumping out spearmen as fast as he can, but I wouldn't be surprised if he switches to archers very shortly here. Already has a handful of archers out. I did miss that from the Viper. Blacksmith going down for Beasty, but if the Viper sees it, he will do his best to stop it before it goes up. He has succeeded in doing so, at least temporarily. Jumping on the gold of Beasty, and he'll take out at least one villager. That Gur having to pick up and move away. We'll take a quick look down here. Beasty is trying to jump the dock from the Viper. And also, if he can, it looks like he has arrow slits on this now. Yeah, I guess he must. It's kind of odd. I don't see... I actually thought it did a bit more damage, but it does 20 plus 25 damage versus ships. And so he was able to lure the Viper's ship to this and take it out. So Beasty being really, really annoying over here. And he can also now range his opponent's tower. So that has to be pretty annoying as well, although it's really quite slow to take it out. The Viper's archers, looks like a couple of them probably went down. 3 have survived up there. There's another group of units, spearmen plus archers, coming in. And well-timed, Beasty's con returns, and that will hopefully help him to drive away his opponent. So the Viper is going to be as annoying as possible with the fewest number of troops. I'm somewhat surprised with the spearmen. I guess he must have scouted these stables. So Beasty with horsemen now, taking out his opponent's archers. Well played by him. That's a nice little cleanup. Those would have definitely been pretty annoying. And there's enough here that he probably can... Actually, he probably can't take this out. I guess maybe with the con. But I think Beasty might need a few archers of his own. So, a little rough there, losing a horseman to Viper's spearmen. I think the play here is to basically move to the right and try to pick off any reinforcements from the Viper. The Viper is loving these direct engagements, and he's even getting extra shots off because of his own archers. Meanwhile, Beasty looks like what he's trying to do is mostly, continue the production of his construction of his step readout. This is his Castle Age landmark, and so that being held back slows him down quite a bit. And once it's up, remember that all these villagers will drop off 50% extra gold when they drop off to here. So this landmark is very powerful, and you want it up in its own right, never mind just being in the Castle Age. And we'll see what he gets up to in the meantime. See if any horsemen upgrades come out, perhaps, or maybe he switches to Lancers. We'll have to keep an eye out. Another outpost from the Viper, I guess from the Viper here, trying to hold this thing off. And Beasty's just going to try to burn this down. And we'll see if he succeeds in doing it. I think there's only one villager in here. Unfortunately, you can't... Oh, you can check, actually. So no arrow slits from the Viper on this tower, which I think would go a long way, but it does cost stone. And that is, of course, easier for the Mongol player, who generates stone passively via their OVO. So it's a little hard to tell who's committed more resources in this area. But keep in mind that Viper's just trying to keep this area alive. Beasty is successfully continuing to actually fish out this whole place. So he's had the time. These fishing ships have had the time of their lives here, fishing this out. Not too many fish in here, so you won't want to overcommit with fish. But that is kind of interesting. It's possible that Beasty is overcommitting here if there's only so many fish in these ponds. Now, it does still number in the thousands on the Viper's pond. But if he loses a pond after having accomplished what he wants, it's not really the end of the world. So we did see the Imperial Academy from the Viper that probably went up quite a while ago. I did not check. And it looks like to me that he's pushing for the... Oh, actually, these are Beasty's resources. Yeah, Beasty needs to spend here, I think. Unless he's going for some sort of weird Imperial Age play, he needs more units on the map right now, because he needs to stop this raiding, and he needs to apply pressure to the Viper, who, without any problems, is going to be producing villagers 50% faster. These two tier 2 landmarks put him in the Song Dynasty, meaning he can produce Zhugonus, and I believe this is one. Here you go. And his villagers produce 50% faster. So, and it looks like Lancers did come out from Beasty, so at least he is getting his attack on. But I would like to see more of these resources spent. So, whether that means put down another stable, add some Mangudai or archers or whatever you need, keep those resources being spent. So the Viper finding an outpost in the middle of the map, definitely worth burning down. Remember that the Mongol player, especially with Deerstones, will get the speed bonus to, I think, 15% speed bonus to any unit within them, and then for 20 seconds after they leave. So it's actually, it lasts for quite a while, and you can sort of chain them. So, these, you could probably run from these Deerstones to this tower, the radius of it, while still having that speed boost all along. And 50% may not, 15% may not actually seem like a lot, but you notice it. You see it. When you're chasing a unit and suddenly you can't catch that unit, it matters. Beasty would have tried to use that to reinforce his front more quickly, or to raid better. Viper, really aware here, pulling away his villagers already. This Barbican with some units should be enough to deal with that. Beasty looping around to the wood line, hoping to get some damage in. Viper is sending his troops down here. I'm wondering why. He may just be trying to burn down this tower once and for all, but no, he's going to head back up. So just keeping his army on the move, which I think is a good thing. And of course, if he spots this OVO, he will burn it down as quickly as he can. Take a quick look at the points just to get a sense, because to me this has felt really quite even. I wish Beasty was spending his resources more, but I'm starting to consider that he's pushing for the Imperial Age, because I can't see a reason otherwise to keep so much food in gold. Like, you could have so many extra Lancers. If 5 extra Lancers could mean, you know, just sort of, you know, naively, brute force, rather, jump on your opponent's army, take it out, and then be on the offensive for the rest of the game. So, I'd really like Beasty to spend those. Has he made an extra stable? He has not. Viper attacking here, going to be taking out quite a few Lancers, so huge pile of red bodies here, though. So, did not see the start of that battle. I wish I had a better idea of how that went down and who that was good or bad for. BC's resources seem the same as they were before, so I think he's pretty stable on where he is right now. Viper with an attack ship up. Is this... Did I miss this? So, Beasty replaced the Viper's dock with one of his own here. Probably to mostly be annoying, and a war junk is going to pop out to deal with the ship, and then to kill all of the fishing ships and the dock of the Viper. And in the meantime, there is a battle up north. Beasty definitely having the mass here to bring this battle to a victory. Juganu's counter light units, low armor units really well, but there's just enough troops for Beasty. So I really like this play from him. And Viper needs to be careful here. You know, these Juganus can definitely get taken down by the Knights. And you'll see, hit point wise, yes, some damage being done, but these Juganus are going down really quite quickly, and you'll need to bring some veteran spearmen in to help deal with that. So a little bit of a standoff there. Wolf chasing this poor villager around, who's probably trying to build a mill, or perhaps just running from the home base. A couple stables moving. They're going to be setting up beside this OVO, and we'll see how, we'll see how Beasty spends his resources here. I'd love to see, again, a third stable. I guess this is a Gur. Yeah, Gur moving to the berries here. Yeah, okay, so Gur just setting up by the berries. Nothing too crazy to see there. Now, meanwhile, the Viper at home has been getting a pretty serious mass of units. We have Juganus, Spearmen, and Clock Tower Springles. That is a pretty nasty combination. So I think Beasty, you know, even his Lancers, these Springles, before they're nerfed, are going to deal with the Lancers pretty well, as will the Spearmen. So Beasty needs to be really careful here. He appears to have a really solid points lead, but the Viper knows his unit compositions, and he's going to push this advantage as hard as he can, going right through the middle of the map. Beasty, recognizing this is a problem, needs to be dealt with immediately, is going to consolidate his troops at home in an effort to deal with it. Beasty also having a prayer tent, probably trying to grab some relics on the map. Springold's starting to unpack, for now just firing at the prayer tent. Won't get too much out of that. I do think enough Knights here on the part of Beasty, or rather Lancers, same unit, different name, could deal with this. There's only so many Spearmen here. You can see all the torches there, those are the Spearmen. And then there are a few Springolds as well. So, you know, if you really... Oh, yeah, lost that prayer tent. That's not nice. Juganus actually rip apart packed buildings. So, Viper heading right up to the step redoubt. Wants to maximize the damage done here. Let's take a quick look. Is Beasty cutting off reinforcements? No. He's trying to build an outpost. That'll get cut off by the Viper right away. The Viper driving Beasty off of gold. Yeah, Lancers jump. So, yeah. Beasty really needs to take out these Spearmen so the Lancers have full play and can destroy... I mean, they can take out all of these units. Yes, Springolds deal a lot of damage to Lancers, but with enough Lancers, you know, that you will definitely take them out. Torch damage is torch damage. And with the spears gone, Juganus won't be particularly good against Lancers. So it does look like Beasty will get the best of this battle, and the points are starting to look like they favor Beasty in a pretty big way here. And I think the Viper recognizing that push is over. That push was crushed. I don't know that it was the best unit control from Beasty, but he definitely did the job with the units he had. Still plenty of Lancers by him, even if some of them have low health. He has driven the Viper out of this pond with 2 war junks. I was going to say a single war junk. I love that because you're minimizing the resources you're expending, and he is in the meantime going to be gathering as many of these fish. Can't select that fish for some reason as he can. Oh, there it is. So yeah, still a couple, at least a few thousand fish in this pond. So Beasty doing a good job jumping on that and pushing the Viper out. So a little push on the front here, and I also see some units around the back. Viper has done a men-at-arms switch. Now the Lancers should still do pretty well against the men-at-arms, and these are also Palace Guard we need to keep in mind. So they're the Chinese variant of men-at-arms, which are technically a unique unit. They are a little bit different. They're faster with lower armor. So, oh, Beasty needs to pull out. So these Lancers are going to go down to the Spearmen. Actually, yeah, Spearmen plus more Palace Guard. Plus, are these crossbows still Juganus? So you know, if he pulled out there, that would have been absolutely perfect. Viper would have had to keep units back here to defend himself and to always worry about this. Okay, so we'll keep an eye. So Beasty's gold is pretty high now. That is common with the step readout because you tend to get more gold than you can possibly use. And you might tell yourself, well, maybe it makes sense to just put fewer villagers on it then. But then again, this is your most efficient method of generating resources. I mean, 50% more, you know, higher drop-off is massive. So it may make sense to go crazy on gold and then to just use the market and buy other resources on top of what you're already making. So it makes sense that you would spike gold, but I do hope to see this economy level out a little bit as he decides what he's buying. I think Beasty can take this. He may be hoping to meet up with another army. Actually, you know what? Are there Palace Guard in here? That's part of it, I guess, with the Palace Guard. But he is losing crossbowmen in the retreat. Retreating with his Lancers as well, so I'm actually not that sure how the Viper is hanging on here. Let's take a look at his base. He did add another town center up top. 8 villagers in it. He needs to pop those out to get them back to work. He will likely do that shortly. And I believe he is still in the Song Dynasty. So 2 town centers in the Song Dynasty with 50% faster villager production is the equivalent of, yeah, look how fast this villager produces. Just under 13 seconds. So that is the equivalent of 3 town centers. So the Viper is booming here, and Beasty needs to be careful. 67 economic units for Beasty and 90 for the Viper. So his resources have been going into extra villagers. I'm wondering, have I missed a town center? He's probably just been on 2 town centers for, you know, long enough that he got a villager lead, and that's only going to speed up. Or rather, increase. I don't know that it'll actually speed up. Keep here, nice spot, protecting the sacred site. Keeping an eye on the area, and protecting his second town center here. Step readout, moving to the next gold patch for Beasty. So I'm really curious as to what Beasty does next. I'm wondering if he's starting to feel like, hey, I thought I was winning. You know, why am I not winning here? And the fact is, Viper has so many extra villagers that... Oh, yeah, Imperial Palace. So the Viper is going to the Imperial Age. So that's a huge sink of resources. So if you're wondering where his resources have gone, that'll do it. 24, yeah, so 3,600 resources going into the Imperial Age. So if the Viper's holding off and successfully hitting Imperial, and he has more villagers, he, to be honest, has a huge lead, and this score is very, very misleading. So I'm guessing, what's the reason for the score difference? Almost the same size of military. Yeah, interesting. So I don't know what the deal is. For all I know, that could be things like upgrades. It's a little hard to tell. There's a skirmish up here. I think the Viper has taken better battles. Beasty hasn't been as careful as he could have with his Lancers. And at this point, 3 Lancers are going to go down really quickly to Spearmen. So the Viper about to hit the Imperial Age here. Where is that landmark? Did I miss it? Am I crazy? Oh, I'm mistaken. Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. That's my mistake. So this is not the Age 4 landmark. This is an Age 3 landmark. So this is the one that allows you to see your opponent's villagers. Ooh. Yeah, lovely right here. Taking out the fishing ships from Beasty. Now, there's only so many fish left in this pond, but it still makes sense to jump on your opponent. And maybe he'll even swing up, and he might be able to stop Beasty from taking that relic. So, Viper not actually in the Imperial Age, and Beasty is now in the Imperial Age. That is my mistake. So, this should, however, put the Viper into the Yuan Dynasty. So, his villagers are back to 20 seconds to produce. That being said, he has 102 of them, so he doesn't need many more this game unless he's replenishing lost villagers. Okay, battle here. Beasty has the mast. Definitely favorable battle for him. You can see all of the red bodies here. Yeah, this score difference is... I think this is really misleading. Beasty has hit Imperial Age, so we'll have to see what upgrades he chooses to get. Double Lancer production. Yeah, that's nasty. So what did he go up with? The White Stupa. So the White Stupa is a pretty cool landmark. Basically, it gives you 240 stone per minute, and it acts as an ovo. So on top of the ovo you already have, which you should keep using. So, you know, when this one was out, hopefully Beasty will move it to somewhere like this. So he still get 105. He still gets 105 stone per minute with that. But with the White Stupa, he now gets 240 extra. Plus, you get that influence from as if it's an ovo. And so this barracks can double produce. These pastures will produce 50% more sheep, and so on. So this is a really solid economic building for the Mongols. Really, really solid. Man, I have to admit, the Viper's side of the map looks terrifying. Like it's like a bee's nest. It's just swarming with red. And I think he's going to just bust out of here. You know, like he's been building as he hit... Okay, so he's stopped making villagers. He's at 102. And is he going Fireland? He is. So he's using the Yuan Dynasty to produce Fire Lancers. I believe there may be other benefits to being in the Yuan Dynasty, but I'm not actually sure. Oh, he can build the granary now as well. I thought that was in the Ming Dynasty, but that must be the pagoda. Yeah. Okay, so he can build the granary. We'll keep an eye out if we see any granaries. But granaries are basically mills that allow your villagers to harvest food faster when you're nearby. And with a recent patch, they fixed the drop-off zone. So it used to be in here, meaning you have to sort of walk all the way in, and you'd lose all the productivity that the granary was supposed to provide. So once people dug into that, they figured out that is how the math works. But yeah, I'd love to see a... Oh, here we go. Here's a granary. Take a quick look. Improves the farm gather rate of nearby villagers by 15%, and it stacks with other granaries. So the Viper can place... Is this a granary? Yeah. So the Viper can place more granaries, and I think you should even consider placing it like here, so that these villagers actually get 30% faster food harvested. So pretty cool seeing the Yuan Dynasty used that way. We'll keep an eye on this Fire Lancer mass because they should get pretty scary. They get a ton of charge damage, and I think they might do Area of Effect. But I haven't personally seen them in action that often. I know people talk about how crazy they are, especially in team games, but I haven't played a lot of big team games. You know, sort of 2v2 is it's mostly the biggest I've played. Yeah, we're not going to see there if it's area damage or not. But we see Fire Lancers, Pikes, Palace Guard plus Veteran Spearmen, Springalds, and we now see from the Viper, can we spot it? It's probably a Spirit Way. Yeah, here it goes. So Spirit Way will allow for Dynasty unique units near the Spirit Way to be produced more cheaply. So Fire Lancers are now 30% cheaper. So the Viper will continue his Fire Lancer spam. Okay, so the game is in a little bit of a standoff here. Let's keep it. Let's take a look at what Beasty's up to. I'm a little bit worried about him. So he's at 90 villagers here. He does have cannons, but I would like to see those cannons be more active. It's possible he's worried that his army isn't big enough, but if that's the case, he's kind of already lost because he's behind economically. And he got the jump on the Viper by getting into the Imperial Age, but he hasn't really used it. You know, making a couple cannons isn't enough. We need to see them in action. He has been really active with his step readout. We see a bombard all the way over here. That's strange to me. I wonder if that's a misclick. Or did he tell them to attack and they're going to try... Maybe they're going to take out this wall for better harassment. So he can swing around with his mobile army. We do see some units swing around. So that's probably what that bombard is up to. We'll keep an eye on that. Viper mining away the gold in the middle. Try to get through that as fast as possible. We see his monk just healing up some units, keeping his force as healed as possible. And 18 Fire Lancers there, although a couple of them are a bit damaged. Love to see that bombard start shooting. Okay, so just Springaled outpost from Beasty. So who makes the next move here? Love to see this bombard. I'm worried this is going to be forgotten about. So it has three bombards here. Yeah, really needs to get active. That being said, I'm pretty sure this is more than enough. Keep in mind, Palace Guard are fast as well, and so they're faster than men-at-arms. So they're actually pretty good at jumping on siege weapons. And actually, even more than that, these are elite Fire Lancers. I'll try to see for you when we next see their torch damage, but they do something like 50 torch damage. It's completely insane. And now, Clock Tower Bombards coming out from the Viper. So if there was a window for Beasty, here we go. At least this bombard is now firing. If there was a window for Beasty, I worry that it is closed. And sure, he has more bombards total, but they won't have as many hit points. It's just a little scouting run from the Viper, seeing what his opponent is up to, trying to throw down an outpost, which may actually get up, given how quickly the Chinese construct their buildings. So check this out. 55 torch damage, plus 10 versus siege, so 65. So 10 Fire Lancers should be able to one-hit a bombard from the Mongols. So that is nasty. Let's just watch how fast this dock goes down. Look at that. That's ridiculous. So the Viper is going to be as annoying as possible. And remember, the Mongols player can't wall. He can't just put a stone wall here. So Beasty now has to worry about Fire Lancers showing up anywhere. And yes, he can pack up his buildings, but you know, that's not going to stop Fire Lancers. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them whip around and do as much damage on the backside of Beasty as possible. Beasty did start trading here, and he's trying to put up a bunch of towers to keep it protected. Personally, I don't think that's enough. if you know Fire Lancers are out, knowing how much damage they do. Yeah, watch this. You remember having stables? 'Cause you don't anymore. Yeah, and the Viper will just keep his mass up. He's actually close to 200, so he'll push any minute now. He's at 200 population. There's no point in him waiting. Meanwhile, Beasty is at 178, so not bad at all. But the Viper, with that mobile force, forcing his opponent into awkward spots. I would not be surprised to see him start to move in the middle of the map. And actually, you can see him jumping on his opponent's bombard from here. So this is a failed raiding attempt from Beasty. Let's see, did he take down that wall? He did. But it was enough notice for the Viper to get there and to deal with it. We see the movement in the middle of the map. That is a lot of bombards. Yeah, they do go down fast though to these Fire Lancers. Yeah, this is really bad now. So the Viper's Fire Lancer, he is making the most of them. Absolutely. Did they loop around? Okay, so this is what's left of that force. Viper down a little bit in population now, but I'm sure we'll see that hop back up to 200 any second. I think 3 bombards were lost there. I think this is a new one. I could be wrong on that. That's 3,000 resources. Right, keep that in mind. Right, that's 1,800 gold lost from that attack. There's no way the Viper committed 3,000 resources to that. His bombards now starting to pick away. So Beasty needs to find a way to get on the attack and to get raiding the Viper, but I don't know how he's going to do it. I do not know. Fire Lancers popping in here again, and even 5 is probably enough to cause absolute chaos. Battles happening. I'm getting pings all over the map here right now. Beasty is pushing with a bunch of bombards. He's going to take out this keep really quickly from the Viper. Push right in the top, open up a hole there, and see what he can do. We'll see if the Viper has any kind of response here. And there you go. You see the troop movement heading north. The Viper has detected threat level 10 and is sending actually almost his whole force. There's still a very large force at the bottom here. And this is what makes players like the Viper really difficult to deal with. You know, he's not going to send everything. He's going to send just what he needs. Fire Lancers coming in from this side. Infantry coming in from this side. These bombards are not long for this world. And I think it's pretty safe to say this attack from Beasty is pretty much halted. It's not even safe to go back now. He has to go through Viper's base, and the Viper knows that. He's going to block him off with some Fire Lancers. Yeah, this is so nasty. Look how fast these villagers produce food around the granary. That is so fast. That's really cool. So I'd love to see more granaries now. I hope we do start seeing more. So the Viper, you know, units are running through his base. I don't think he's too worried about it. His economy did go down to 91. I think he's okay with that. He knows he has a really solid military. Now, he did lose a lot of his southern force, but some of it has looped up, and they're going to get into the trade lines and play havoc with Beasty's economy. And these are bringing back 176 gold each. So killing these is a really big deal. Now, they don't do that quickly. They may not be as efficient overall, at least for gold, as a villager just mining gold, especially given that Beasty has the step readout. But how much gold is there left on the map? Like, you know, where is Beasty going to go? His step readout's back here. It's not on a gold patch. So I can't help but feel but like a lot of his advantages have run their course, and the Viper is over and over getting into the trade lines of Beasty, and I just don't see Beasty able to do anything about it. Viper torching the step readout. He is everywhere, and his base looks, I mean, from the minimap, looks completely impregnable. Like, even if you got in here, what would you do? You know, it's just not that clear to me. It's just a giant sprawl of a base. The Mongols, yes, they have a lot of buildings, but the Fire Lancers will rip through those buildings. There's only so much Beasty can do about that. Some hand cannoneers being added here from From Beasty, that may be a pretty good play against the Fire Lancers. More troops from Viper pushing right down the middle. Bombards firing away at knights and anything they can hit. Look at the damage on that knight. Went down almost instantly. Taking out the siege workshops from Beasty, so this will very much halt, or at least decrease his ability to produce bombards on the other end. Juganu's firing away at knight. They're not great at it, but they should still be better at archers, given that they shoot 3 times. So 3 attacks. Each attack reduced to 1 damage should still be quite a bit better than a single attack. In fact, it won't even be reduced to 1 damage. It'll be probably something like 6 damage each. So really not that bad. Shooting away at the knights. Viper's Fire Lancers jumping on a small force from Beasty over here. Yeah, this is starting to fall into chaos here. Beasty is pushing with a major counterattack along the south, and I wonder if Viper knows this. There's just not enough defending in Beasty's base. It's very minimal. Keep in mind the players can't see the score, so the Viper won't know that Beasty's score actually, apparently he's in the lead, according to that. So this attack from Beasty needs to be as quick as possible, right? It needs to be decisive. This many bombards can absolutely wreak havoc, but, if you lose these bombards, this might just be game over. How many are here? So let's go to Beasty's point of view. 6 bombards. Viper is heading out with some Fire Lancers to meet it. I think these will probably go down pretty quickly to a combination of the bombards and the these crossbows. Yeah, elite crossbowmen, very nice. So pushing away, destroying these will rip through buildings. Let's just take a quick look. The Viper getting under the TC, and his bombards are taking out most of the buildings from Beasty. But if you see how quickly the Spirit Way goes down, there it goes, basically 2-hitted by this group of 6 bombards. So all of a sudden the Fire Lancers are quite expensive to produce, but look how many are already in the queue. The Viper is actually house blocked though. I think he may have destroyed a village which supplies 40 population. So here it goes, elite spearmen, Fire Lancers, Juganus, you name it, jumping on the siege. I think this is the end of the game. This was Beasty's chance to get back into the game. Beasty calls it. The Viper beats him with the Chinese against the Mongols. Really solid play by the Viper. Nice boom into very, very solid late game push. Nothing the Beasty could do about it. Folks, this has been Paragon RG. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you next time.